Your college performance does not relate to the National Football League. It never does.
They played side by side with each other, and he wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. That's an issue. That's a major issue.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers.
Ever got to Texas?
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. It was Quinn Ewers' program, which Steve Sarkisian made very clear the entirety of the time that Arch Manning was in Austin. So for you to argue that because Ewers is a seventh-round pick, Arch Manning is not that good and not deserving of being first overall is asinine. It is wrong. It is incorrect.
He's going to be number one overall. My whole thing was I'm buying
you're doing your thing now where you double down on a tape that is incorrect.
The best quarterback prospect to ever hit college football can't play.
He's
over
not,
a seventh-round
There were two perfectly rated quarterback recruits in the history of the sport.
Quinn Ewers couldn't even play at Ohio State. He couldn't even play at Ohio State.
Quinn Ewers. Go look it up.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
In NBA Hour number 1, much more to talk about in Hour number 2. This is the Early Line right here on the SportsGrid Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. It's Joe Ranieri and Donnie Rightside here. The energy is high. Why? It's always high on a Monday, too. Like, we watch a lot of sports on the weekend, get down to a lot of business on the weekend. We understand, like, that energy as we talk about, like, hey, man, how are the Nuggets going to get up for that game number 1? It's adrenaline, Joe, that pushes us here in the morning to get the grid started off in the right direction on a Monday.
I mean, it was exciting. It was exhausting. And just imagine what the players now had to play in these games and who are advancing. Boy, oh boy, it's a quick turnaround for just about all of them. They don't have a whole lot of time to bask in the glory of winning. So let's see how that rolls out for them early in these series.
Now, Joe, what's the turnaround like in the adrenaline? Like if you had an engagement party over the weekend, you had to come back to work. Like, are you energized? Are you exhausted? Like, what would be your mindset for the week on that?
I'd probably take the next day off. I probably would. I'd probably have to call in and I'd be like, I need another day or so. You know what? Maybe the week. Maybe I need the week off. That's how I'd look at it here. Yep. Re-energized, a lot of excitement. That's what we're going to talk about now as we re-rack the NBA playoffs, particularly the odds market in each conference. It's the Final Four in both conferences. And, Joe, I want to start with the East here. The Boston Celtics, a -155 price. They have not began their second-round series against the New York Knicks. The Cleveland Cavaliers at a +220 price. They have opened up against the Indiana Pacers, lost game number 1. The Indiana Pacers, who won game number 1 against the Cavaliers, they're a 10-1 price. And then the New York Knicks, again, starting their series tonight with the Boston Celtics at a 17-1 price. Looking at those price points right now, anything stick out to you here between the Final Four in the East? Yeah, well, I mean, it does feel still like it's a two-horse race there in the East. I think the West is a little more wide open. But I also think that the Pacers sitting there at 10-1 is interesting. So what happens if the Cavs don't win this series here? And let's just say it comes down to Celtics and Pacers. Are we 100% sure it's just the Celtics are running through everybody? I don't know. It seems a little overvalued to me at this point, Donnie. Both of those favorites seem a little bit overvalued at this point.
You know, it's funny for me because I've been feeling like the odds makers, Joe, have been waiting to trash the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like they were just angry. Yes. Like they keep winning. They're 11-1. Now they're 10-1 to win the championship. 9-1. Oh, we can't move. Oh, we got to move them to 8-1 and 7-1. They're upset. So I figured, looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook this morning, like Cavaliers lost yesterday, man, put them 10-1 now to win the East because finally they got beat by a team they shouldn't have got beat by. We can move them down. they're still getting a lot of respect and also in the series plays to win this. And granted, they're a double-digit favorite to win game number 2. They're supposed to do that, but the Pacers are a formidable opponent. So I look and say to myself, is there a thought process like, right? Because I like where you're coming from here, because you can't just say on paper we're better, we move on. Injuries happen, great plays happen, shorter series here as opposed to, we'll get them next month when we see them. Like, you better be playing your best basketball right now. Is there a chance that it's smart just to take a flyer on the Pacers and the Knicks at 10-1 and 17-1 and say, I don't think we're getting 4-game sweeps, which obviously you can't in the Cavaliers series, but even in the Boston Celtics, like being competitive? Or is it just going to be the foregone conclusion we've talked about for so many months here? It's just Cleveland and it's Boston, and don't worry about the rest.
It's very hard for me to, I mean, the Knicks haven't beaten the Celtics this year. It's very hard for me to even take a flyer with them because, listen, can they win a game or two in this series? Sure, but they certainly need a lot of things to break their way if they're going to upset the Celtics. And again, the fact that they have not beat them yet, Donnie, is a little bit worrisome. Even at 17-1, I can make the argument that should be 77-1. Instead here, because until they can actually win a game against the Celtics, I'm not buying it. I think that the Pacers are the biggest live dog in the East. In the West, I can make a case for all of those teams actually advancing and winning.
By the way, if we do look at the Knicks, you're right about that, because you look at the talent and say, oh, man, 17-1. You just saw like the Pacers going to Cleveland, win that game. Why can't the Knicks at least battle the Celtics? But then you're thinking about down the road. Like, let's just say like chalk holds between the Cavaliers and the Pacers. So now you're saying, all right, Knicks, you have to beat not only the Boston Celtics, which you can't beat upper echelon teams. Then if you do beat the Celtics, you got to double down and beat the Cavaliers, which is something that you really can't do in the regular season. And then to win a championship, it's probably going to be the Thunder, which is something you couldn't do in the regular season. You have to win that as well. So battling the MO of the regular season is we handle our business against average teams. Anybody that's above average, we don't do business there. And maybe the Knicks can certainly change that narrative. We don't know, but we'll certainly find out. You get a temperature test once they take on the Celtics here for game number 1. But let's talk about the Western Conference too, because OKC, to me, the best team all season, the best team in the NBA, priced appropriately at a minus 220 price, which is hefty. That's not to win the championship. That's just to win the Western Conference. The Timberwolves plus 430, the Golden State Warriors plus 850, the Nuggets 11-1. To me, more pedigree per se in the Western Conference, the teams that we're asking you to say, who do you want to take a flyer on? We just talked about the Pacers and the Knicks, quality squads, tough opponents. We'll see what happens. But the Timberwolves, that next up-and-coming team, the Golden State Warriors, championship pedigree. Just a few years ago, Joe, the Nuggets, championship pedigree. What gives here outside of OKC in the West for you?
Yeah, it's a coin flip in some of these spots here. I mean, listen, the Thunder should obviously be a big favorite over the Nuggets. But this Timberwolves-Warriors series, I think, is fascinating because whoever comes out of that, and let's just say the Thunder win and beat the Nuggets here, that's great. But whoever comes out of the Warriors and Timberwolves series is very much alive of giving the Thunder a big issue here. I think the Pacers would give the Celtics more of a problem than the Cavaliers right now, because I don't think Garland will be back anytime soon. I can tell you that now, and I think that's a problem for the Cavaliers. The Timberwolves and Warriors, if the Warriors keep getting that version of Buddy Hield, good luck trying to beat that team in a 7-game series with Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. I think that's the more important series out of them.
Now, what was interesting, too, is, again, we're waiting on these series to begin outside of Cleveland and Indiana, which, again, Cleveland got beat by the Pacers in game number 1 of round number 2. If I ask you this question, Joe, for just game number 1s, you're obviously going to have the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks, OKC taking on the Denver Nuggets, and the Timberwolves taking on the Warriors. What's the shock game here? Are we getting another shock game in game number 1 where that road team can pull the outright upset in game number 1 and take a series lead? Who would that be for you?
Well, the Knicks would be the big, and I kind of hope they do. I kind of hope the Knicks come out and win game 1. And let's face it, the Celtics have been atrocious at home. I mean, they're always a monster favorite, and it's always do or die in spots along this lines. But if the Knicks come out and win game 1 of that series, I'll take a second mortgage out to whatever that number is for the Celtics. I will bet it at that point in the series. But B, I can tell you right now, that will be the shock of all shocks of all of these game ones coming up. I don't think, despite the market having the Cleveland Cavaliers as an 8.5-point favorite in game one, I don't know how shocking the Pacers beating them in game one was. I think the Knicks beating the Celtics would be over the top. I don't know anybody seeing that coming.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch it play out because, again, today, like the coach is going to join us here shortly to talk some NBA action. You got a doubleheader tonight. It's the Knicks and the Celtics. Like, that's going to be fun. I don't care what the spread says. You're talking about two of the paramount franchises here on the East Coast going toe-to-toe. And then you have OKC still trying to get that respect from the general public here going up against the Denver Nuggets as heavy favorites as well. Then tomorrow, you have the Cleveland Cavaliers looking to jump back into the fight here and even up that series. And then the Warriors and the Timberwolves get underway from Minnesota. So it's a good time in the NBA right now. The Final Four in each conference here. Doubleheaders tonight, doubleheaders tomorrow. We expect a lot of excitement. Now, next segment, we're going to talk some headlines in the NBA. But I think I might have to squeeze in here an angry moment for me that's dealing with the Michigan Wolverines that just came across my timeline. And wait till you hear how I'm going to sound off on this one. Cheaters, they always win. They just do. Cheaters always win. Hear me out next.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
They've won 7 in a row. They've been dominant at Citi Field. Lindor's been insane. Pete Alonso's been raking.
You know, Griffin Canning, David Peterson, those guys have pitched really, really well. And when you put it together with that lineup, especially like you said, Lindor's been great. You know, they've got the makings of something very special in Queens.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Fans hate them. Like, kids go to Giant games and they're like, my father forces me to come, or my grandfather was a season ticket holder. Like, no one has fun. It's a miserable place to go.
The Giants' problem has always been over the last several years, and it's been the reason why Barkley never really got off, is the offensive line.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Joe Ranieri, I need a break right now in the early line. I need a break from reality because sometimes I lose my mind. I get upset. You know, you tease before the break, and half the time I forget what I even teased about. But this one, I sort of kept straight and narrow at this point. And sometimes I say, like, the gods send us down a lightning bolt that says, hey, you know what? Here's a good talking point to put on a talking show in the morning. We're going to continue to talk NBA. But, Joe, I know you watch the early line. You participate on the early line. Sometimes I get passionate about a few things that seem to happen. And the takes sometimes get kind of wild. But I've told people over the past couple of years, in any sport that you have, in any realm of your life, I would tell my young daughter who's 13 years old right now, just cheat your whole life. It never catches up to you. Cheaters always win. You know, but grow up like, cheaters never win, like the tagline, like G.I. Joe, whatever it might be. No. We're going to rewrite that. Cheaters always win here. He said, what's Donnie talking about? Let's go back to Michigan, who I've talked about ad nauseum on this show for the past couple years under Jim Harbaugh, where it's like, you know what? We are going to cheat at every turn. I need to win at all costs, and they did. You know what happened to Jim Harbaugh? He went pro for an even more lucrative contract, a Michigan man that's beloved by Michigan because he did whatever it took to win. Under him was Sherrone Moore, who also participated in the cheating scandal with Connor Stallions. So you know what happens to him? He doesn't lose his job. He doesn't get a 10-year show cause. He gets to keep his job, and they go, we're just going to suspend you for 2 games next season as part of you cheating here, and let's continue to move on. Joe, help me out on this. Am I right or am I crazy? Do cheaters always win? It seems like they do.
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword, Donnie, right? The cheaters in this case won a national championship because of their cheating.
Yeah.
Had they not, we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. So the problem is that on this level of cheating, it worked for them, even though they never admitted it, denied. Eventually, what is this now? 3 years later, 2 years later? Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with everything that we knew to be pretty much true when it was happening. Yeah, they were cheating. It was like Belichick and the videotapes, right? Yeah, always. Belichick was cheating too. Deflategate. I mean, you just go through it, Donnie, but you got to win in order for it to make it sense.
Exactly. You always do. And again, like we all can always go down the Patriots thing where, yes, Bill Belichick was the biggest cheater. And somehow in Foxborough in 2-minute drills, the opposing teams, systems will go out where they can't make play calls or taping plays at the Super Bowl or Tom Brady deflating footballs because like the grip better on it and then breaking cell phones here and telling you nothing to watch over here. Like we understand that, which then just keeps piling up and saying, when is enough of this one? Well, apparently not enough. And also, here's the caveat. When you usually release, Joe, like, I'm going to suspend you for 2 games next year. What's the common thought process? You are out game 1 and 2. You got suspended 2 games. Game 1 and 2, you're out. You will resume in game number 3. But now we see a Dan Wetzel tweet that compounds this by going, Moore is expected to miss weeks 3 and 4, which are Central Michigan and Nebraska, because this would allow him to coach week 2 at Oklahoma, which is his alma mater and where he played offensive line. So that tells you how much of a joke of it is behind the scenes for Michigan. Like, hey, man, even though we're supposed to be looking at this as a complete embarrassment to the university and we should fire you because cheating is not acceptable, we're going to allow you to coach at Oklahoma because of how much it means to you, and we'll extend the suspension to other places. Is this the same thing in life? Like you can show up to Michigan and you can write a thesis paper that's completely, pulled from a website, hand it in, and they catch you like, you know what? You're going to graduate. You just can't walk at your ceremony here. No big deal. Like we don't cheat. And so, and my thought process again is, if you are Michigan, bring Connor Stallions back, put a mask on him, put a fake mustache, a fake beard, have him cheat again. Because apparently, if it's only 2 games for you and you win a national championship, why don't we all do this? Just cheat in college football. It will never cut. Reggie Bush cheated, ruined USC. You know what he has back now? His Heisman Trophy. Just cheat. Push all in, people. Push all in. It works out in your favor. Trust me, in the end, you will win more than you lose.
And it's all about the optics of it, right? It's a slap on the wrists. And don't forget, wasn't he already suspended, I think, the opening game last year or a couple of years ago as well for the self-imposed penalties on another issue that they were having there with the NCAA? It just seems like everything is all about the optics. Okay, we're going to suspend him 2 games, level 2 infraction, but we're also going to allow you to be a part of the team for the game at your former alma mater because we know that's important to you. Where is the gross misconduct penalty here? And what are we supposed to think when you handpick the games that he is not going to be a part of? I don't get it.
Always a good time. Always a good time here. Like even the guys that cheated all the way up and down, he got thrown out of the university, is now winning lawsuits against the NCAA saying like, well, I wasn't allowed to do it at the time, but now they're allowed to do it. Give me my millions of dollars and it goes back. But again, Michigan, I want to say this too, because it might sound like I'm a Michigan hater. I'm not. And Gabe's on the network all the time. And I joke back and forth with him. If you ask any fan of any institution that said, look, we're struggling right now, if I gave you a head coach that was going to do everything in his power, including bending and breaking every single rule, but you will get a championship, every fan base would take that. Same thing with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017 when we won the Super Bowl. If it came out that the entire team was roided up and cheating and stealing plays left and right, I go, Doug Peterson, you are a man on a mission, and thank you for your service for winning that championship. I don't care about the ramifications. Do you think Michigan fans are sitting back right now going like, man, we're Michigan men. We're so embarrassed at this point. I'll give back the championship. Not one single Michigan fan will ever say that and completely supports it, and rightfully so. You broke the rules, you won. I don't care as long as we won, Joe Ranieri.
From what I'm hearing, apparently Patriot fans are saying they have no idea what you're talking about. Just throwing that out there. Just saying, they have no idea what you're talking about. Nobody videotaped anything, and no, the balls weren't deflated, Donnie. I'm just throwing that out there right now.
By the way, do you remember with the Patriots when they had that whole Deflategate scandal / we're taping things, and the NFL was like, this is back in the day, 20 years. Like, we're going to fine you, Bill Belichick, $500,000 for this scandal. And you know what Robert Kraft did? We're going to we just re-up Bill Belichick, and mysteriously was making $500,000 a year more than before the fine because he paid it for him. Again, the owner was giving the coach a pat on the back saying, you know what? Winning is the most important thing. I'll cover you at every single turn at this point. Look at Harbaugh in the NFL laughing up like, hey, Jim, if you ever come back to college football, 10-year show call. Like, brother, I'm never coming back to college football.
Nope.
See you when I see you. New phone, who dis at this point right now. So Michigan won. Congratulations. Thank you for that topic. We'll go back to other hot topics, which includes the NBA and some changing of the guards with some teams and also some other interesting numbers here. Michigan, you won. Don't hate on them. They cheated. They won. That's life. Continue to do it, kids. Continue to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
They've won 7 in a row. They've been dominant at Citi Field. Lindor's been insane. Pete Alonso's been raking.
Griffin Canning, David Peterson, those guys have pitched really, really well. And when you put it together with that lineup, especially like you said, Lindor's been great. They've got the makings of something very special in Queens.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Fans hate them. Like, kids go to Giant games and they're like, my father forces me to come, or my grandfather was a season ticket holder. Like, no one has fun. It's a miserable place to go.
The Giants' problem has always been over the last several years, and it's been the reason why Barkley never really got off, is the offensive line.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
NBA Hot Topics continue. Yes, we had to take a break here to talk some college football. Why not? By the way, college football right around the corner. Already done spring practices and spring games at this point. Before you know it, we'll be breaking down a preseason top 20 there. But before we do that, we do have some NBA topics to tackle, which includes Greg Popovich. After 29 seasons as head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, will be moved into the front office. Medical issues here sort of derailed his head coaching. Hopefully everything is well, but he will move into the front office here, Joe.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, there is nobody. I mean, look at them. 5 championships. I mean, the culture there, unbelievable. Guy, we see this a lot with guys that have spent their entire careers and had that much success. They get the old cushy office job in the corner. Lakers have done this. Pat Riley's still doing it. it's nice. Enjoy yourselves, and he'll be there as long as he wants to be there. And quite honestly, he earned it. So one of the greatest ever to be on the sidelines for sure.
No doubt about it. They're looking at 5-time NBA champion, 3-time coach of the year, 1,400 plus wins, 29 seasons. Certainly was the pulse of the San Antonio Spurs through a couple of different regimes here. Mitch Johnson, never heard of the guy. He's going to be the new head coach. Then we take a look at the Memphis Grizzlies. Never heard of that head coach. Tomas Tuiasosopo, I believe is his name, will be the new head coach. What do you think about that name? You like that, Tuiasosopo, for that pronunciation?
Does he drink beer out of a shoe? I'm not quite sure if that's the same guy, but it's a better attempt than I would have given it, Donnie. I'll tell you that. But yeah, no. Kudos to Memphis. I'm wondering if he can rein in Ja Morant. That's going to be the interesting thing there.
Bring the box of grenades, man. Hand in hand, baby. Let's get after it here for Memphis next season. But here's a great topic, though. I love this, and it never stops. Like, the Lakers are out of the playoffs. Like, man, what other talking point do you have with the Lakers? Where's LeBron going to go next year? Will he retire? Will he force a trade? But now we're getting news that LeBron gutted it out so much that he might not even able to play in another postseason game, even if they won game number 5. LeBron James, what a warrior.
Yeah, great. Injured his knee in the Lakers. The problem was he looked just as bad in games 1, 2, and 3, as well as 4 before the knee injury. So I'm not quite sure if that had anything really to do with it. Does that mean, though, that he's going to miss the first 6 months of the next season? Is that what he'll only be available for the playoffs?
Any Chris Paul banana boat parties out there? Pictures from Cancun? Or is he going to have to be rehabbing at that point? By the way, I do love the NBA, and it always dates back to remember Shaquille O'Neal be like, "Hey, buddy, your pinky toe needs to be operated on." He'd be like, "Look, I'm having fun in my summer. I'll see you in mid-October, then get the surgery, and I'll be back by Christmas time because I'm not missing out on my summer here." We'll see what LeBron James does, but I didn't even see that topic to talk about where LeBron was like, "Man, I was injured so bad. I finished that game, but I don't think I'll be able to play the rest of the playoffs." It's LeBron James leaving it all out there all the time, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable. Great character there. That was good stuff there. Except you stunk in game 4 too, so I'm not quite sure that the knee had anything to do with it.
Let's talk a little NHL action because round number 2s are coming up here. And the one thing you don't really hear about in the NHL is the postseason when it ends, like a litany of players on every team getting surgeries for broken bones, torn muscles. Like, hey, I tried to gut it out at this point. So you want to talk about a series and some prices here in the NHL? We got them coming up here. Stars, Jets, Golden Knights, Oilers, Panthers, Maple Leafs into round number 2. Hurricanes, Capitals here. How excited for round number 2, Joe and Erie? Are we ready to go?
Listen, I'm a Panther guy, so I will be at game 3 with the Maple Leafs coming up, but they get to drop the puck tonight in that one. Yeah, they drop it tonight. It was, Maple Leaf fans are, I think, going to be a little disappointed when it's all said and done. But the value is on the Washington Capitals. There is no way the Hurricanes should be that big a favorite. No way.
I got 2 topics for you here. Now, with the Panthers and the Maple Leafs, it's under the assumption that the Maple Leafs fans are going to be flying down to Florida for this game. Any animosity between the 2 fan bases down there? Or is it just relaxing? Is a hockey game in Sunrise, Florida, relaxing at the game? Or is there some animosity? Even Tampa comes to town. People hate on each other? You get any of that in there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there were I was at that game in game 5, I believe, there in Sunrise, and it was a lot of Tampa Bay fans there, and it does not work out well for those fans that travel to Sunrise.
And how about this too? Any thoughts to being the Miami Panthers, Joe? I mean, come on, can we rip the Florida off there? Can we do that?
With the way they beat Tampa, they are really the only Florida hockey team. So.
Right. Yeah, I guess you can hold that up hey, we're the state university, the flagship is the Gators and the Hurricanes in Florida State. Oh, well. Yep. JY's coming up next. More NBA talk, baby. It's what we do.
You don't think that there's something to the fact that they blow all these leads against the Edmonton Oilers? It's like the Oilers could be down 4 goals and they come back like it's nothing.
We got a series now. I think this thing is going to reset, Scott. I think home ice advantage is going to hold true in this series. I think I told you that last week. I'm expecting this. I picked the Kings in 7 before the series started, and it's like plus 700.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
It's so crazy that you get both ends of that spectrum and the narrative trying to be correct in doing so and to make a statement for engagement. You're wrong, you've been wrong, and deal with the reality of the situation.
All of the people that analyzed the draft mocked one in the first round, and even could he go to the Giants at number 3 or trade up back in that round. They got Dart, they didn't get Sanders, and the fall was on at that point.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to get a bunch of upsets. We're going to get a lot of craziness. Didn't happen as well. I mean, over the last calendar year, Sam, I don't ever recall 6 or 8 months of time in sports where the books lost, but here we are.
They estimate FanDuel and DraftKings lost $185 million combined for March Madness. So estimating not just that they didn't have a profitable March Madness, but it was a huge loss for them as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Game 7s, we love them, particularly in the NHL and also in the NBA. A lot of drama, a lot of intrigue, and sometimes some performances we are going to question here, and that's what we're going to do now. It's Donnie Wright, it's Joe Ranieri, and now we have the coach, James Young, in to break down some things that did happen and maybe should have happened. Coach, how are we feeling today on a Monday?
Oh, it's great to be on with you guys. Game 1 Knicks tonight. We'll talk about that at the end of the hour. Is how much am I sweating? Probably a whole hell of a lot. But, you know, it's Monday morning. It's dreary and rainy outside, but it's always sunny when I get to talk to you two on this fine morning.
See that? Just look, you want to host hour number 3, JY, you can have a solo mission and get after it and have some fun with that nice little bringing right here. But also, we're not singing the praises down in Houston today. Why is that? The Golden State Warriors 103-89 in a Game 7 victory over the Houston Rockets. Similar to what we've seen previously. We were waiting for this. Boy, we don't think that the Houston Rockets can win Game 6 back in Golden State. They did that. Momentum back for Houston. Coach, what happened to the Rockets?
Jalen Green. Let's call it what it is. I mean, Jalen Green had a horrific game 1, 38 points in game number 2.
Incredible.
And proceeded to, the bed the rest of the series. And here's the thing, guys. Like, if you close your eyes and you say, oh my God, Steph Curry's got 3 points at the halftime, you're like, psh, Rockets by 20. Like, it's already over. But all of a sudden, Bad Buddy showed up. Bad Buddy made more threes than the entire Rockets team last night. 9-6. Right then and there. Like, one guy's 3-point shot literally buried you. But I want to give someone else credit that I don't want to give credit to a lot. And that's Draymond. He did look dialed in. He did look for his shot. He did knock down 2 threes in the first quarter, and it was just a better performance. But to me, this is about a Houston team now that we have to be very, very careful about, right? Because they're young. What do you do at this point? Because the easy thing to say is, well, we push all of our chips to the center of the table, right? You got to re-sign Fred VanVleet. That's got to be the number one thing. The question you have to do is, what do you do with Jalen Green? You have the number 3 draft pick and Reed Shepard, who didn't even see the floor. You guys know, obviously, Cam Whitmore is another capable guy at the two-guard position. Then you go to the forward position, where Amen Thompson displaced Jabari Smith in his starting lineup. You already got Tari Eason as a backup. If you're Houston, do you take Green, Smith, and then go take a swing and try and get a superstar to come back to Houston?
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Houston Rockets for sure there, Coach. And it's also going to be interesting, too, is we got one game yesterday involving the second round with the Cavs and the Pacers. And one team looked like they were just deer in the headlights. And as Indiana's running past them every chance they get, guys running into one another. Boy, oh boy, is Garland that important to this Cleveland Cavs team here, Coach?
Certainly looks like it. But when you play a team like Indiana, let's be honest, like you need depth because they're just going to keep coming at you in waves. And I want people to understand this, and you're going to get where I'm going with this with tonight. You got to be careful with these teams that have non-competitive first-round series and think that you got to dial it back up. It's hard in game one. Listen, am I shocked Indiana won? Yes. But if you would have told me they lost this game by 3-4 points and covered the spread, I would have said, oh, I absolutely see that happening because of the ramp up. What that leads you to tonight, there are 2 games tonight with big numbers. I want people to be careful and stop thinking about it as, oh, they blew them out in the regular season. Oh, they did this and did that. Be careful with these big spreads when you get to the second round. This is like when you get through the NCAA tournament, we get rid of all the Cinderella teams. This is when basketball starts to get more interesting because these are way more competitive series than people want to think.
And also, if we are taking a look at game number 7s and how they pertain to game number 1s and round number 2s, we take a look at Golden State and Minnesota with the series odd prices here. The Timberwolves are a -178 favorite to win that series. The Golden State Warriors at a +150 price. When you see those numbers to start that series, is it price appropriate for you, Coach? Or are you somewhat surprised that the Timberwolves would be that high of a favorite per se, or not?
Well, I'm going to take everyone back to, well, they probably didn't hear this, but you remember, right, last week, Donnie, we were talking about this with Ben and Joe during the commercial break about who was going to be the series price leader. And if I remember, Friezo was saying, our producer was saying, it was going to be Minnesota. And we were all saying it was going to be Golden State. But remember, that was at 3-1 Golden State. The way that Golden State looked just getting through and how, like, at times Steph looked really old, and how Minnesota just capped off that series, now it's starting to line up where it should be because the team that's playing better right now is Minnesota. The team with home court advantage is Minnesota. So to me, what interesting is how do you bet this series? I have a hard time believing that Golden State's going to win this series. I don't even know that this is even going to be overly competitive. If we get what we got out of Minnesota, the same problems that the Lakers had versus the Timberwolves are coming back to roost again. The lack of height. What are you doing with Draymond? Who does Draymond guard? Is Draymond guarding Rudy? Then who takes Randall? Well, then if you want to try and someone told me over the weekend, like, oh, you put Jimmy Butler and Randall. Then who the hell's guarding Ant? So to me, there are matchup problems on defensively, not just height-wise, but athletic-wise. I love this to go 6 games or less. I'm going to go ahead and take Minnesota -1.5 games. I think they get this within 6 games.
I was at a strip club last night, Coach, and James Harden comes walking in, and all seems to be well with the world. I'm just right. Doesn't seem to be all good in James Harden's world, except for the fact he's on another team that he doesn't show up with when it matters the most. Not that shocking, though, is it, Coach?
No, it's absolutely not shocking. I just want people to understand. James Harden, just do yourself a favor. Go up on social media and go look up James Harden elimination game and look at his stats. I mean, you want to talk about the clock striking minute? I mean, this is like the version of the movie Groundhog Day, right? Like you get up, the same thing happens, and there it is, 7 points. People be like, "Oh, he had 13 assists." The guy shot 2 for 8 from the floor, and it's something that's happened year after year after year after year, and it's just something that it just hasn't changed. So, what do you look at when you look at James Harden and elimination games, right? And we're talking about big minutes. We're not talking about little minutes here. You know, this guy has done this time after time after time. And let's be honest, folks, the guy is a stat chaser. He's got great stats. James Harden is going to be probably, at the end of next year, I think top 12 or 13 all time in career scoring in the NBA. And go look at when the lights get the brightest and the games miss the most. James Harden comes up the smallest.
No, he certainly has. I mean, all the talent in the world. And sometimes you give him like that little like test. It's like, boy, would you go back to your Houston Rocket days? You don't win anything, but you are dropping points and points and points. And the NBA's got to change like the fouling structure because of how much you're getting away with it. It's just a shame because he's a great basketball player. They just don't advance here. Now, in the next segment, Coach, I do want to ask you this question, and that's where do the Clippers go from here? They were finally healthy at this point, got dropped in round number 1. Can changes be made to the Clippers? And also much, much more on the start of some of these series. We got the coach in the building. Let's use him to get all that knowledge right back here on the early line.
Cosmo was supposed to fight Ciaran Clark, but he had to pull off injury. You get the call. You get to go in there. What was it like for you when you got that call, jumping in there and be part of this bantamweight tournament on short notice?
Terrifying, man. 2 weeks notice against a stud, but I've been preparing my whole life for it, and I couldn't say no to the opportunity, and saw what happened. I came in there and kind of shocked the world. Not kind of, I did.
Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We know your other brother Marv did the Knicks forever, but you've done just about every team in the league. You did games. Yeah. You did Dr. J games.
But after 45 years in this crazy business, people kept telling me, you got to write a book. So I did, and here it is.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
What to do now? The question marks always come up here. It's Donnie Rightside, it's Joe Ranieri, and it's the coach, James Young. And the reason that we need these questions answered is what's going to happen with the Clippers now? We were led to believe, like, man, if the Clippers coach just got to the playoffs healthy, the superstar power will shine. There's a thing about making a deep playoff run and not working out great season, but there's also about you were finally healthy and you lost in round number 1. The Clippers' future, coach, is what?
Murky. Because let's be honest. When you look at the Western Conference, right? Okay, obviously OKC's ahead of them. If Houston doesn't take a step back, they're ahead of them. You expect the Lakers to I don't know, maybe be better next year, right? You expect teams to jump up. You're looking at the Clippers and saying, well, what do? We've gotten lucky with Kawhi this past year with injuries. How long is that going to last? James Harden is, I think, 35, 36 years old. How long is that going to last? Yeah, Zubac was absolutely fantastic. We get it. Ty Lue is one of the best coaches in the league. Steve Ballmer is not afraid to spend money. But you find yourself in an interesting part of you could be irrelevant rather quickly in a competitive Western Conference. I'm going to throw something out there where I think should be considered. I think you trade Kawhi Leonard while the value is at its highest now. If you don't think you're going to be able to be a perennial team that's going to make it to the second round and or deeper in the Western Conference, to me, you're either winning or you're rebuilding. And I'm worried about the Clippers team falling back, particularly if Kawhi gets injured, right? Because then you're relying on James Harden. I think they should consider trading Kawhi. They got through the first season of the new arena, right? So they're fine. They're set up. It was a ton of money. Ballmer had to go in. This is where he should smartly say, let me look at the longevity of this. Kawhi Leonard off of his year, maybe considered again to be a top 10 player of the NBA currently, if he's healthy. I think you trade him and you try to extend it to the future. I'll tell you right now, the team that's playing, that just got knocked out last night, if I'm Houston, I'm calling them right now. I'll give you Jabari. I'll give you Jabari Smith. I'll give you Jalen Green. And I'll give you a couple of picks. And we'll take Kawhi Leonard. And then you put Kawhi Leonard in that front court with Amen Thompson and Alperen Şengün. And then you put Reed Shepherd in the backcourt along with the Fred VanVleet. You can't tell me that team can't go to a Western Conference final if they get someone like the Claw playing in Houston, especially with the way he plays defense as well.
So we got to look now ahead for this Denver team. I mean, they do have the ring, Coach. And Donnie and I were talking. The best player is still on the Denver Nuggets team that's going to be in this series, and that's still saying a lot here. They split the season series, I think, 2 games apiece. Well, I mean, this is a monster number here for the OKC team in the series. Does Denver have a puncher's shot in your opinion?
They do, because they have the best player in the world. And I think, guys, game 6, okay, they didn't close it out. But 5 and 7, they looked as good as they've looked all year. All year. Both sides of the ball. And to me, this series is going to depend on, and they did it on Saturday night, it's going to depend on Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr., I think, scored 39 points, if I'm not mistaken, in game number 7. I think Zubac, Harden, and Kawhi scored like 41. It was like something like crazy close. So if those two can, like, let's say, equal what they get out of some of the other guys, Williams and Hartenstein and Chet, if they could bring their part of the game, Joker's going to bring his. Murray will give you a couple of spots. I think OKC wins this series, but I think it's in 6. So I'm going to take the Nuggets plus 2.5 games. I think they find a way to get 2 games here in this series because of their star power, Nikola Jokic. And I do think they're going to play much better, particularly if guys ready on the defensive end of the floor. That's the difference that I saw this, the last couple of games down the stretch after they fired Michael Malone.
Yeah, I like the 2.5 game look. I do, because we're like, even if you win in 6 here for OKC, that's a great series win, 4-2 over the Denver Nuggets. So many times you get caught up and like, oh, that's not impressive. They won it in 6 games. What are we talking about? Final 4 in the Western and the Eastern Conference, man. You win it in 6, you're doing your job here and can advance, which then brings us up to game number 1 and what the expectations tonight, Coach, will be. 9:30 tip time. It's the Nuggets and OKC, a 9.5-point favorite here at the FanDuel Sportsbook and a 225.5 total. There are many ways to play this game, but the one thing that Joe and I talked about in hour number 1, Coach, is What version of each team are we getting? Rested and ready OKC. They should be good. The Denver Nuggets, that whole rush of winning a game number 7 in their own building, then got to pick up and fly to a new city. What's your expectations tonight? And also with the spread as well.
Well, here's the key thing to look at, guys. Yes, Jamal 42 minutes, Christian Braun 38 minutes, Joker 32, Porter 30. I'm taking the points. I'm taking the 9.5. There's just something to me about the rev back up after winning an easy series. And I know OKC, it was a tight game in game 4. They rolled that series. They weren't even paying attention game 4 once they knew Ja was out. I do like the plus 9.5 points tonight with the Denver Nuggets. I think they're going to keep it competitive. Remember, they got blown out in a back-to-back, home, and then the next game they won by 20. So I think I like them. 2 people look at, Russ is home. Russell Westbrook over 10.5 points, 7 out of the last 8. He's going to play a role in this series. Look at Russ. And then SGA. If I am Denver, I'm making him a distributor. I'm going to make anybody else beat me. You can find SGA over 6.5 assists at plus money. Look for that to happen again tonight as well.
Yeah, I like some of those looks that you're going with there, too, because if you are looking at Russell Westbrook, he's been that energy bunny off the bench. And if you were betting him the past 2 games, he's playing a lot of minutes and being involved, whether it's points, rebounds, or assists here. He's only listed at 10.5. The one thing that we do know is that doesn't go into the algorithm, Coach, right, as we talk about. We understand humans and how they connect with their city. You think Russ is coming to town to go 1 for 3 from the floor, score 3 points, have 1 rebound tonight in OKC? Stop the madness. The Knicks are up next against the Celtics. Upset City? Let's talk about it, Coach.
Vegas knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number 1, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number 2, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable at 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, do you get rid of Booker? Because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of
15.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right back in hour number 2. We're talking NBA action. The Coach James Young is here with us today. Myself and Joe Ranieri having a lot of fun talking about this. Also, I'm seeing on the FanDuel Sportsbook here, Coach, it says win playoff tickets or an NBA jersey. It has the Knicks on there. So if you get involved with the FanDuel Sportsbook, you could get some Knicks tickets here, which certainly will be a hot commodity for game number 3 in the Garden. But before, Coach, We get to game number 3 in the Garden. We got game number 1 in the TD Garden in Boston tonight. A 9-point favorite for the Celtics. A total of 212.5. Brunson and the boys headed up I-95 to Beantown. What happens tonight, whether or not you're a fan or not?
Well, listen, the Knicks are in a tough spot in this series because you're going to go look at the season series and see the Knicks got lost all 4 games, right? 3 of them were absolute blowouts. But I want to pay attention to the last one, the 119-117 win. Why? It was the only game that New York was whole. That includes Mitchell Robinson, who played some pretty decent minutes in the first round series versus Detroit. I expect this to be more competitive than people think. I don't think the Knicks win game 1, but I think they throw a really hard punch. I'm going to take the 9 points here and look at the fact that I think that they're going to keep this game somewhat competitive. Like the series we talked about last break with Denver and OKC. I like the Knicks in plus 2.5 games. I think the Knicks are going to find a way to maybe, I don't know if it's game 1, maybe get a split, and then could Brunson steal you another game and you lose 4 games to 2. Value bet. Josh Hart to lead the series in rebounding at about 7-1 on FanDuel. Hear me out. The 2 people, Tatum, I can see why he's up there. But if you look at Cat as a second person, Cat's got to go chase Porzingis at the 3-point line. He can't go to the 3-point line and then rush in. Josh Hart turns into an absolute maniac when it comes to the playoffs and his rebounding numbers. He gets about 8.7 rebounds per game versus Boston during the regular season. I like Josh Hart to lead the series in rebounding, and that leads me to game 1, taking Josh Hart over 19.5 points plus rebounds. Over 3 straight. 5 out of 6 versus Boston. I think if you're Boston, you're thinking about Cat, you're thinking about Brunson. That 10.5 total for points, 19.5 with the rebounds, is a low number. Josh Hart goes over points plus rebounds tonight and leads the series in rebounding at 7-1.
I know they posted earlier today the Celtics injury report, coach, clean. They're saying Holiday is back. He is playing in this game. He's not on the injury report. He missed the last 3 games against Orlando. I mean, how dangerous are these Celtics here with Holiday in the lineup?
I'll tell you what, Joe, you're fantastic. You know why? My other prop tonight was Drew Holiday over 12.5 points plus rebounds. And no, I did not set Joe up for that. Joe went there by himself. Why? Over 7 of the last 8 versus the New York Knicks. He's got to play big minutes versus Brunson particularly. So if you look at it like I looked at it the other way, where you look at the secondary guys to be the scorers, look for someone like Drew Holiday over 12.5 points plus rebounds. He may get there in points alone because if you're in New York, who are you thinking about? Tatum, Brown, Porzingis. Someone gets loose. I'm going to trust it's going to be the one with the lower number than Derek White. That's Drew Holiday over 12.5 tonight.
We're going to have some fun watching game number 1, Coach, but let's talk about the totality of the series in itself. Before we tip tonight, take a look at the FanDuel Sportsbook on the series price odds. The New York Knicks, a plus 590 underdog. The favorites, of course, the Boston Celtics at minus 850 live. You take a look at the series prices, Boston minus 2.5 games at a minus 128, and the shortest is game number 5 at plus 198. Setting up this series, yes, the Celtics one of the best teams in the NBA, reigning world champions. What success can we have with the Knicks, even if they don't win the series? Is it short? Is it long? What's the prognosis, Coach?
I think it goes 6 as well. Guys, I wouldn't be shocked if this is 2-2 heading back to Boston for a game 5. I can see split happening because the Knicks are going to get one because Boston's just going to shoot it abysmally from 3. And you're going to get a second one probably because Brunson's going to steal one for you. If this is 1-1, and here's the way you want to do it. If you are liking Boston, let this thing get to 1-1, then jump on Boston. But right now, before the series starts, New York Knicks plus 2.5 games at plus money. They find a way to get this to 6 games.
Let's see what happens tonight. Game number 1, TD Garden, exciting way all the way through. Now, Coach, usually take us out to the break. Give me a little Bernard King right now. Can you say it?
Oh,
a little Bernard King.
And stop saying Brunson's the greatest Knick. I could be the greatest Knick. I played bowling.